Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Okay,
Yes.
good. My name's Joe Pino. I use he, him pronouns. I would like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from the indigenous lands of the Osage people, which we now call Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the United States. I am the head of the sound group for another 24 hours. But I'll be happy to talk to you about what we do and what we've done, and perhaps what we will do in the future, although somebody else will be in charge of that shortly. Yeah, I have a presentation, so let me share my screen with you. So, Sound Design's subcommission. Um, this is the mission statement that we've worked with since Stephen Brown was the head. Um, the group started around the turn of the century. Rick Thomas was the first head of the group. Stephen Brown was the second, and I am the third. But primarily, we try and work towards raising the awareness of the art of sound design, particularly in places where sound design is not so common yet, and also to provide resources for sound artists to network and share information with each other, which we're pretty good at. Some past projects, the kind of projects that we've done, at least since I've been involved, which is 2005. We've done a number of digital sound exhibits in conjunction with the PQ, where we've invited sound artists from around the world to submit work and then displayed it in listening stations where people could listen, do focused listening on the work. Because, of course, the problem with sound, I mean, there's a problem with exhibitions in general and theater because you're looking at something that's not alive, and theater is about things happening in time and changing over time. And so you're either looking at a still image of something that represents a brief moment, or you have to actually stop and experience something. And so sound is particularly problematic for that because you have to actually listen to the sound. You can't just walk past it and take it in. So the digital sound exhibit was an idea to have a place where people could go and actually sit and listen to extended pieces of work in the way that the artists would intend them to best be presented, which is over headphones, but essentially in an acoustically controlled environment because the exhibition hall is not the ideal place to listen to sound because the noise floor is so loud. So we've done a number of these. Virtually every gathering, World Stage Designer PQ, has had a digital sound exhibit attached to it. And those are archived, and the hope eventually is to have them available online, but that has not happened yet. But we do have the data there. This was a project that was in PQ in 2007 called Laptop Connections. What happened was I guess it was 9 sound designers installed themselves in a train station in Prague, and were connected via the internet to a sound designer in some other part of the world. And the idea was that they would create live sound work in conjunction with somebody who was somewhere else. The original project was intended to be on the Charles Bridge and then to have other sound designers on other bridges across the world, but we couldn't get permission to do it on the Charles Bridge. So we did it in the train station. It was a lot of fun. This particular group had a dancer that was also part of it. We did it at rush hour, so it was fairly chaotic. There was a lot of just sound happening all over this train station, plus all kinds of people walking around. Excuse me. The Sound Kitchen is something that we've done pretty regularly. It is, again, designed as a way for sound designers to present their work in an acoustically friendly environment and to provide an environment where people can actually sit and engage with the sound over extended periods of time. So we put a call out and invite people to play their work for an audience for about 20 minutes. It can be they can either perform it live or they can just play a recording of material that they've written for a show, or they can create a project specifically to perform for a group of people in whatever city we're in. And it's proven to be pretty popular. So we've continued to do it. We started in 2011, and we've done it, I think, every year except for 2013 was the only year we haven't done one. And we plan to continue doing them. They bring in a lot of people that don't normally participate with OISTAT. I wish there was a higher percentage of people who would continue to engage with OISTAT after they've been to the Sound Kitchen, but so far it's it's a lot of fun, and it as I said, it provides the necessary environment for people to actually listen to work and focus on the listening. This is some other examples from PQ. These are the Mushroom Heads. It was a particularly popular group from South America that was in Taipei, and they actually made an appearance at PQ last year too. At least I saw them walking around with the Mushroom Heads on. They weren't part of the Sound Kitchen that time. We also attempt to have guests come in, usually guests that are from the area, at least in World Stage Design, guests that are from the area where the World Stage Design is happening, to come in and talk about different aspects of sound, or sound design, or sound art, or creation that they do wherever they are from. And I think this is a really important part, again, of connecting with people. And as other people have said earlier today and yesterday, about educating ourselves about how other people do things, exposing ourselves to different kinds of work. And so we continue to do that, and we, hopefully that will continue after, into the future, because I think it's been a lot of our more interesting programming actually has been listening to other sound people talk about their work, in an hour, giving them an extended period of time to talk about the kind of work that they do. We also invite guests that don't really fit in the mold of theater. This was a guy that does what's called dirty electronics, and it's about manipulating stuff at the the most hacky of levels, just connecting crap together to see what kind of sound it makes. And so we did a workshop in Prague, and we've had other people. We had Robin Rimbaud came in once to talk about his work in sound design. He's essentially more of a musician, but he does quite a bit of sound work for dance companies. And Hans-Peter Kuhn has been in, and other people like that. So not just people that are working in theater sound, but people that are doing other kinds of sound related things. We frequently do, pretty much every time we get together, we do a Pecha Kucha sort of event that we call Listen Here, where we have, in the standard Pecha Kucha format, people talk for 6 minutes and they have 20 slides about some project or some aspect of something that they're interested in, and they're always enjoyable. We tend to do them in bars or restaurants. This particular one was in a restaurant in Prague, so that we can all have dinner together and then have drinks together and then listen to people talk about what they do in that, trying to compress it in 6 minutes. Again, different kinds of guests. We tried to branch out. We've tried to branch out into things that aren't just theater design, but things that, this is the Prague Synth Library, which is a social, as much of a social project as it is a sound project. And so trying to raise awareness for the kinds of inclusion that we can have as designers, and exposing people to different kinds of things. There's another presenter that we had that presented about sound walks. Last year we did, over the pandemic, we didn't do a lot of stuff like pretty much everybody else. This was our meet. We had a meeting at Senna, and this was the meeting at Senna. And I see that several of the people that were at that meeting are actually here, which is great. We have a sound cloud page. Primarily what it hosts is there's a day called World Listening Day. It's in July, and it's a day that's dedicated to listening to the world around you. And there's an ongoing exhibition virtually that happens. And so we have traditionally contributed numerous pieces from our group that we develop a theme based on the overall World Listening Day theme, and then create a mini exhibition, which then gets posted on SoundCloud. And you can find those if you care to listen to them. We haven't actually done it in the last couple years, again, just because the pandemic has kind of made things difficult. But we did do this, which is similar to that. One of our members, Jorg, proposed an idea of creating a project that was based in people's studios, that was essentially based on a famous piece of sound art called I'm Sitting in a Room. And this was a version of it about sitting in your studio. And so a bunch of sound designers would trade the same file. So Jorg recorded a file of him talking about what the project was about in his room, and then he sent it to somebody else, who then recorded the same sound file playing out of the speakers of their room, and so on, and sending it to multiple sound designers. The idea is that every time you play the file in a room, the recording of the room playing that file changes the acoustic content because of the various room reflections that you have. So by the time you get to the 20th or the 21st variation, the original file and the file that you end up with no longer sound the same, because you've introduced acoustical anomalies from different people's recording studios. And so the majority of the people who contributed to the project were people that were connected to the Oystat Sound Group, although there were a bunch of other people that got involved. You can download it for free on Bandcamp if you want. And if you donate money, which is one of the options in Bandcamp, then Hjorg donates that to whatever charity is striking his fancy at the moment. We do a lot of social stuff. That's like many of the groups, the social aspect is important. We generally, at things like PQ and World Stage Design, actually plan our meals in advance to know which restaurants we're going to, so that everybody knows where everybody is going to eat for dinner usually. And that way there's no jockeying around trying to figure out where we're going to go for dinner, and oh, everybody went here but I didn't know about it. We have it all scheduled out so that everybody who wants to join can go share a meal together, because that's really where a lot of the, as much as the presentations and the the performances and stuff are good for our souls and our artistic output, the communication with people is really where you get the deepest things. And so we've sort of made it a priority to socialize as much as possible. There's some more. We've gotten more students involved. At the last PQ, we had a fair number of students that joined us, which is always good. In the future, we're working with the space design project that has been talked about previously. we'll see how that turns out. I don't even actually know if we've gotten permission to do it yet, but if it's been approved. And we have sound content, including a sound kitchen that we have proposed for World Stage Design, but I have not heard that any of those proposals have been approved to proceed for Cenefest. And likely at our meeting on Tuesday, we will start talking about the Prague Quadrennial. We don't seem to have a lot of information about that at the moment, so I'm not sure what what we'll talk about. I guess what we think we might want to do, but I don't know that we know a whole lot about PQ, about what they're gonna. In the past, they have asked us to do things like for 2019, they asked us specifically if we would run and program the sound spot, which was the sound venue within the 360 project. And we programmed the speakers, and we did a sound kitchen in there, and different workshops and things for them. And they may ask us to do that again, or maybe we did a terrible job and they won't ask us again. I don't know, but I think it went pretty well. So I expect that they might be interested in having us do it again. And if not, we will plan some other projects and do some other things. But that's sort of where we are. We kind of, like everybody, we sort of got hit hard and kind of stalled out over the last year and a half because, just nobody had the energy, and people weren't working, and it was hard to contribute time to plan things that nobody even knew if they would actually be able to attend or would ever come to fruition. So hopefully now, with this meeting this week coming up, and as we move forward with an actual project for World Stage Design, some actual projects, that people will be able to re-engage, and we'll be able to start doing more things again. But that's all I have. Anybody have questions or comments or anything like that? All right, I guess we're done.
Thank you so much, Joe. We can just chat along. I think we have 10 minutes spare to the next meeting. And as we are here, it's always not perhaps a question, but just chatting along a little bit always breaks the ice a little bit. So.
Yeah, I see. Oh, it's Bassam's here. Nice to see Bassam. Bassam did our only contribution to Senna was the workshop or the panel that Bassam assembled about sound design in North Africa, which was probably one of the most interesting things that we've done in the last 5 or 6 years, because it was so fascinating to hear how, specifically how musical theater is done in the Arabic world, and it was really interesting. Some really unusual information came out of that. Jethro's here. I see Jethro. Year. Hopefully next year. See,
hopefully next year more contributors.
Is that online somewhere? Was it recorded?
Yes.
It was. I believe it is online. Sophia here, or I mean, Sophia. Abby. No. I'm pretty sure it's online. I just don't know where. Jethro. Hi, Jethro. Brad's here. So a number of sound people here. There's Eric. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Joe. Nice to see you guys.
Nella also.
Nella's here.
Nella's here, yeah.
Hi, guys. Hello.
Hello.
Awesome presentation yesterday, Jethro.
Oh my gosh. It's 1 a.m. here.
Keeping you awake.
Yeah. It's great to see you all.
Good to see you guys.
You too. Yeah.
Let's see, did I miss anybody else? Adam. Hi, Adam. I'm just picking out the sound people who are in the room, so not that I'm ignoring anybody else.
Joe, can I just ask, sorry, are we doing any meetings about SK? I suppose we are, right? On a Tuesday.
Yeah, I imagine that'll be the primary topic of discussion on Tuesday at our meeting. Just to, at this point, I mean, I assume that it's happening, but we haven't officially. I don't know that anybody has officially been told that the things they submitted for World Stage Design have been approved.
Tomorrow.
Does anybody,
Tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Tomorrow will be
Tomorrow
the.
we get.
Okay, good. So yes, I suspect that that will be the topic of conversation, and also looking ahead to PQ to see if we want to, because PQ is only a year out from World Stage Design, because of the skipped year. So we would, if we want to do another one in Prague, which is probably, I think the Sound Kitchen tends to attract people who can come to wherever we are. So, in Calgary, we will probably get a lot of people from, the Americas, probably less people from Europe. In Prague, we tend to get a lot of people from Europe. So I feel like it's probably worth doing twice if somebody has the ambition to set it up twice within a year, because it does take a fair amount of planning and quite a bit of work, as Brad can attest to, who has run one of them and is about to run another one. So I guess it couldn't have been that bad because you're doing it again. So
Well, it's very rewarding. You meet some wonderful people and get to have a lot of fun. So.
Can you repeat the same event? How do you mean? You mean like doing Sound Kitchen more than once at Prague?
No, I mean, like if you build something for World Stage Design for this coming summer, August 22, can it just be redone? Can it just be the same one taken and done again in Prague? I know it's different people potentially, but maybe it's a way to combine all the work.
I mean, it's something worth talking about. I mean, the actual setup of the thing is, is going to involve different people, because the technology is all donated by manufacturers. And so even if the same manufacturers donate things, it's going to come from different places. I'm going to guess that a lot of people, won't be able to travel in the coming year, or will be reluctant to travel. And so I think that I'm just making this up, but I'm guessing that a Sound Kitchen in Calgary is going to be mostly people who, are on this continent, on the, North or South America, rather than people from Asia or Europe or other countries, Africa. Probably not totally, but, Prague is much easier for a lot of people to get to. So if we did the same thing, there would be a lot of people that would be left out, because the European, I don't know that we'll get as many European sound designers coming to Calgary as we would, hope for. At least that's what happened when we were in Taipei. We did get some people from Europe, but it was heavily Asia Pacific, North and South America.
Also, Joe, in the previous session of the light and costumes, it was like a call from the Mexico to organize a meeting also, or to collaborate with the Mexicans with the light and costumes for a new project that they're working on. So I think Sound Commission also can collaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean, as Rob said earlier, the place to reach out for those is the performance design group, because that's the intersection of all these other groups. So, for example, the thing that the space design has proposed for World Stage Design, they sent a note out through the production or performance design that said anybody who wants to collaborate, the space design is looking to do this and is looking for lighting or sound or costumes or whatever. And, and so that's how we got involved, because I said that we would do it. And So I volunteered us for it.
Can I want since you mentioned that, Joe? When on the performance design Basecamp page, I simply took everybody who was in the other commissions and dumped them in there and gave them the option to opt out if they wanted to, or put it on them. But what I can't do is track the new people who come in. So if there's somebody so if you add somebody, so Joe, our 3 costume chairs, Dinesh, if he's still around right now, I don't know. If you guys can add those people to the performance design group, Basecamp group as well, that would help me out tremendously, so I don't have to go hunting.
We can do that. I'll take a look at who you have on there already, and then add anybody, because I know we've added some people, but I don't know when you created that list. So
yeah, I'm sorry. It's a pain in the ass to ask you about now, but I can't remember when exactly we.
I mean, we're not talking thousands of people. We're talking, 100 people. So it's not that big a deal. But it's also not going to be my job, so somebody else could do it.
On that note, Joe, what is happening on Monday?
So we have a election tomorrow, since nobody was nominated.
Tomorrow?
No, day after.
Yeah. I'm sorry, day after tomorrow. Right. Sorry.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry. So what we'll do is we will just decide how we want to choose an interim person to go forward, and then have an election at World Stage Design. So it'll just be off a year. We'll just move it off of a year. And so, but somebody will need to become an interim head for us to maintain the group until somebody can actually be elected. But we can choose that person however we want to, either by somebody volunteering or by drawing straws, or last person to leave the Zoom.
You click off from Zoom.
To be it.
No.
I think the last person who joins the session has to become the head.
Yeah, that's.
We better make.
Nah, so we just need somebody to sort of take over. I mean, it's not like I'm disappearing, but and I certainly have already started the stuff for World Stage Design, but somebody will need to just kind of start going to the meetings and stuff like that, which are enjoyable. The people that you meet with regularly on the executive committee and the governing board are some of the nicest people that you'll ever encounter. And those meetings are always intellectually stimulating and funny and fun. So I don't think I've ever not enjoyed being at one of those meetings, which I cannot say for just about any other meetings I go to. I look forward to those meetings. So I think that it's worth doing it just for that, just to be able to meet these other people that you probably wouldn't meet normally, because there's a lot of smart people in Oystat, and we don't always meet them in the kind of stuff that we do. So
thank you, Joe.
Well,
I'm going to put you and put it on my office wall, like interaction meeting and fun meeting. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah. If those weren't the perfect words to conclude this sound meeting, thank you so much, Joe, and for your wise words at the end. Much appreciated, and I'm sure we all feel the same. So.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks, everyone. See you Monday. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.